One Man's Family, winner of 42 national awards, a Carlton E. Morse creation. One Man's Family, now in its 25th year, is dedicated to the mothers and fathers of the younger generation and to their bewildering offspring. Today, the letter in the wastebasket. It's mid-morning in Seacliff, San Francisco. In Paul's studio at the top of the Barbours' handsome old house on Seacliff Drive, a late riser sits sniffing a glittering breakfast tray. It's a bright, sunny morning with spring in the air, and the tall north windows are open.
So, having heard the step squeak at 5:45 this morning, Paul, I know exactly how much sleep you've had, which isn't enough for anybody.
And therefore I deserve a tray?
Mother thought so. Lift the lid there and see what you have.
Aha, scrambled eggs and my favorite sausages. Oh, no, not scones.
And wild blackberry jam from the Sky Ranch.
Good. Now, what's this about Cousin Consider? I talked to Joan this morning. She says he's flown back to Hawaii.
Yes, and he forgot to sign his new will, you know.
Oh?
Utterly forgot it. Pinky sent it on to him, care of the Surfrider Hotel. We hope he's going back to the Surfrider. Anyway, Pinky mailed it in spite of the fact that he's now cut off with $1. Oh, I'm so proud of Pinky I could be insufferable.
Don't blame you.
Uncle Paul, are you decent?
Come on up, Joan. He's having breakfast.
Hi there.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said you'd be dressed and downstairs.
They decided to spoil me with a tray this morning.
And I'll bet you deserve it. Ooh, scones, too. How about a bite?
Here, open it.
I'll go get you some of your own.
Oh, no thanks, Aunt Hazel. I've had breakfast. Oh, isn't it a glorious day? What's everybody going to do?
Well, I'm going to phone Pinky, and if he isn't busy, I shall go in town and see if he'll take me to lunch. He needs cheering up.
He must feel terribly bewildered, because I know for a fact that CZ simply adores him.
Pinky's punch drunk. That's the only word to describe it. He would have left here this morning with his Homburg on backward if Father hadn't caught him at the door. As it was, he walked away with one shoelace flapping and didn't seem to notice.
Poor little guy.
I'm sure CZ hadn't any notion what he was doing to him. He was just trying everything he could think of to get a traveling companion.
Pinky made a very odd remark to me the other night. He said if he ever disappeared, to tell Greta he loved her more than he was ever able to say.
Disappear? That's an odd word to use.
Isn't it?
Oh, he said it in a grimly humorous way, but it's haunted me ever since. Oh, my word, 10:47. I'm going in time for lunch. I'd better get about it.
Bye, Aunt Hazel.
See you later. Well, it's a warm breeze. Feel it?
Oh, I noticed when I first opened the doors this morning. Oh, it's the end of winter.
Anybody else with a touch of spring fever?
You too?
You know, I've been thinking, Tony Belladon hasn't begun to see this peninsula. Don't you think she ought to start with the Sky Ranch?
That's telepathy.
Really? Could you get away?
Oh, but what about your office?
Why be a stockholder if you can't throw your weight around? I'll take 4 days off.
Well, then let's get Tony and... Hello, somebody's on the stairs. Oh, Aunt Hazel.
Hey, take it easy. What's the hurry? I'll bring the tray down.
I think he had an appointment at his office, but he hasn't turned up. He was due at 8:30.
Been a traffic jam somewhere? I read yesterday where a bus broke down and...
No, his secretary says not. She's sure he wasn't on his regular bus when it got to Union Square.
Did he leave here at 7:30?
He left to catch the 7:36, the same as always.
Now, hold on here. This is San Francisco, Hazel, and Pinky knows his way around it in the dark.
Especially in the dark.
Oh, sure. I know.
Oh, he probably stopped to see Greta and forgot he had an appointment.
Well, that sounds reasonable. That's the sort of thing that happens when you're that age and it's spring.
It is a spring day, isn't it?
A young man in love can easily forget an appointment on such a morning. I'm going to cancel a few myself.
Well, I guess I'll change and go in town anyway. I'll expect him to be there. Oh, my word, Paul. Look at your wastebasket. Father's got the incinerator going. Let me take it right now.
Here you are, Aunt Hazel.
Thanks, Hazel. And take it easy.
I know. Pinky's 23, and I'm sometimes a flutter-mutter. I wouldn't have been concerned for a moment if he hadn't made that odd remark to me the other night.
We'll return in just a moment to One Man's Family.
The old order changes from year to year, even for the military. Compare Army life during the Civil War with that of you men in uniform today. A great morale factor for any man in uniform is his off-duty activity. During the Civil War, however, such activities were badly limited. For the most part, the men sang songs of home, marching songs, spirituals. Letter writing was at a minimum because of the almost prohibitive cost of writing materials. As far as sports were concerned, the men did the best they could. There were occasional foot races, wrestling and boxing, an early form of baseball, snowballing in the winter, and in the spring, some boating and fishing, with homemade equipment, of course. There were also the usual indoor sports, such as checkers, chess, dominoes, and cards. But that was about the limit of their off-duty activities. Today's soldier, however, finds that his off-duty activities are almost limitless. There is hardly an outdoor sport in which he cannot participate and for which equipment isn't furnished. Football, baseball, tennis, badminton, and fishing. Complete gym equipment is his for the asking. And for the music-minded, enough instruments to make up a small orchestra or western band. Then there are craft kits for making articles out of leather, wood, cloth, beads, and others too numerous to mention. Even writing equipment, paper, envelopes, and ink are often furnished free for the asking. And there is hardly an army base or outfit which doesn't have a library from which the men can borrow any type of book, from fiction to philosophy, from American history to tales from outer space. Yes, you men and women of today's Army are not only issued the finest military equipment and material, but when it comes to getting proper recreation facilities, you can be certain that the Special Services Division is at your service.
Father Barbour's incinerator, used at such times as the law allows, is located at the far end of the garden near the seawall. This morning, as he burns the papers, the old gentleman's attention is arrested by a few words on a torn sheet of yellow typescript. He reads a closing sentence for the second time.
So I might be seeing you in Scotland, Uncle Cliff. With love, signed, Pinky. By George, Scotland. Is this more of it? I am engaged to a beautiful girl named Greta Stephenson. Wants many sons. Throw her life away on a hard-luck Joe like me. What's this? Could you help me learn the weaving trade? Hazel better see this. This had better go back to the house.
And then what, Father? Mother, hurry up.
I'm coming, Hazel.
Father found some scraps of a letter which seemed very disturbing to us.
Yes, a type letter from Pinky to Clifford, Scotland. Apparently he didn't mail it. He tore it up.
Well, then aren't you ashamed?
Fanny, the boy hasn't arrived at his office. Hazel just telephoned again. He hasn't been heard from since he left here on the bus at 7:36. Tell her the rest, Hazel.
Pinky made an odd remark the other night about what we should say to Greta if he should ever disappear.
Oh, no.
Here's a little scrap that alarmed me most. Apparently, he wrote, I am terrified that any sons I might have would inherit my bad luck, Uncle Cliff.
What in the world?
Father brought all the scraps. It seems Pinky ripped his letter into squares and tossed them into the basket.
Didn't know he ever used Paul's typewriter.
Oh, sure, sometimes, hunt and poke system, especially when Paul's out of town, and Paul was in Los Angeles yesterday.
Here's another sentence. Twice in my life now, I have come within a breath of a big chunk of... and then it's torn off.
Wait, here's a piece. Confetti, that'd fit.
Yes, that's his slang word for money.
Yes, here, Father, look.
A chunk of confetti, but lost out each time, and I don't think I'm strong enough mentally.
That all?
That's all of this piece.
Strong enough mentally?
Here, try this. Yes, this fits. Strong enough mentally to run the risk of this happening again. But if I could live alone in some dour place like...
I think I have it here. Like Scotland and run a loom all day, then almost anything else that happened to me would be good in comparison, which is the secret.
I've got it. What was that last word?
The secret.
Now, here, spread it out. Live in Scotland, run a loom all day, seem good in comparison, which is the secret of the bravery and happiness of the Scots. So, and that's all of this piece.
I don't think you need to search anymore. He has left for Scotland.
But, Father, he's destroyed the letter. He must have changed his mind.
Well, about sending it, at least.
All this really tells us is that he was a very unhappy young man.
Have you tried to reach him in Greta's office?
Oh, sure. With the coffee break and she was out, but I'll try again. It's probably something as simple as that. He stopped to see Greta and forgot.
Yeah, sure. Nothing to worry about. Many a man has been late to the office for some trivial reason. Though I must say I never was.
of the Barbours in just a moment.
This is Bill Goodwin. You know, someone once said humor's the true democracy. That's why we Americans can smile when we tell the stories of the legendary heroes who helped to build our country's great industries and institutions. Now, even the book publishers have their hero, Diedrich Knickerbocker. In 1809, an item appeared in the New York Evening Post telling about an old man named Knickerbocker who had disappeared from his hotel room. 11 days later, a man wrote to the paper claiming to have seen the old man traveling northward. Another 10 days passed, and a second letter written by Seth Handaside, Knickerbocker's landlord, appeared in the paper. To take care of back rent owed him by Knickerbocker, the landlord was holding a curious manuscript he found in the old man's room. Soon all New York was talking about the missing Knickerbocker and his manuscript. And when the publishing firm of Inskeep and Bradford published, at $3 a copy, A History of New York, written by the missing Diedrich Knickerbocker, the book sold like hotcakes. Then the truth came out. Knickerbocker, Seth Handaside, and the letters had all been dreamed up by the famous author Washington Irving to create interest in the book which had actually been written by him. But Knickerbocker had become such a real person that to this day the name Knickerbocker holds a prominent place throughout New York. Yes, it is a democracy which lets us create such a legendary hero as Diedrich Knickerbocker with a twinkle in our eyes and a chuckle in our throats. And so long as we continue to laugh together as a people, ladies and gentlemen, we will live together as a nation.
It's 7 o'clock now. Hazel at the library phone is trying to get through to the Sky Ranch.
They still don't answer? Try again in 20 minutes.
Wait. No, here they are. Hello? Nicky? Hi. Is Paul there? Please. What? Oh, yes, we've been trying to get you for hours. I see. They went out for a long ride this afternoon. Hello, Paul? Not a word. Just not anything. No, not even Greta. Nobody's heard from him. And, Paul, we found parts of a letter he was writing, which makes me believe he was actually thinking about going to Scotland.
I can't believe he'd take off on any such junket without getting in touch with you. No. Tell Dad to keep his shirt on. Don't tell the police. Then it gets in the papers. Just hold everything, honey. I'll drive back in town at once.
One Man's Family, which comes to you Monday through Friday, is written by Harlan Ware and directed by Carlton E. Morse. This program has been selected to be heard by our armed forces overseas through the worldwide facilities of the Armed Forces Radio Service. In Chapter 50, Book 125, The Missing Bachelor. Frank Barton speaking. One Man's Family, winner of 42 national awards, now in its 25th year, is a Carlton E. Morse production and comes to you from California.
This is the United States Armed Forces Radio and Television Service.